international investors will be closely monitoring Senegal's presidential election, due to take place on March 24th. That's after an attempt to postpone the vote by 10 months triggered widespread protests and warnings of democratic backsliding in what is usually considered one of coup-prone West Africa's more stable countries. So why is the vote important for investors? For one thing, Senegal has about $4.2 billion of outstanding international bonds, 2 issued in euros and 3 in US dollars. For investors in those bonds, the current focus is whether the election will be peaceful and fair. Yvette Babb, a portfolio manager at William Blair Investment Management, said there was no clear consensus among bond investors over who would win the vote, but that what the market wants to understand is whether or not the election will be credible. In my view, it is mainly about the process, she said, and not necessarily the outcome. Senegal's economic prospects are good, largely thanks to natural gas projects that are set to start production later this year. The International Monetary Fund forecasts that they will boost GDP growth to the double digits by 2025. Senegal also secured $1.9 billion of IMF funding in October, which is seen as a stabilizing force for public finances. The biggest risk to this solid economic picture is of a political nature, says Joe Delvaux, a portfolio manager at Europe's largest asset manager, Amundi. But, he said, as long as the, quote, political actions are done, then it's unlikely there'd be any complete reversal on policies or in dealings with the IMF. By and large, Senegal's 19 presidential candidates broadly support maintaining the country's business-friendly landscape, according to Mujahi Damaz, senior West Africa analyst at risk intelligence company Verisk Maplecroft. But the opposition coalition backed by the popular Ousmane Sonko has promised to shake things up. Having tapped into frustration at a lack of jobs among young people, it has pledged to create a new national currency and renegotiate mining and energy contracts. Sonko, who is barred from running, has urged his supporters to back the coalition's presidential candidate, Bassirou Diomaye Faye. While there are no public election polls, Faye is seen as a strong contender to replace President Macky Sall, who is stepping down after 2 terms.